thoughts turn to things? This is the thing that we want you to ask yourselves on a really regular basis. How do thoughts turn to things? They turn to things because law of attraction causes momentum to get strong enough that they actually become a reality. So you have a choice about what thoughts you're allowing to turn to things, because you have a choice about what thoughts you think. But then you say, no, I don't have a choice about what thoughts I think about this. And then we say, well, then think about something else. And as you take your airtime away from that and put it on something else, the balance will shift until before you know it, and we're not kidding, whatever the subject of your desire is, it can vibrate in the place. You can be in the receptive mode about anything that you want. Emotion follows the thought. So you think a thought and then you have an emotional response to that thought. So let's say that you, for whatever reason, stopped working. And so the money that's been coming in isn't coming in and hasn't for a while. And so you've depleted your savings and you've maxed out all your credit cards. And so now you're at the end of any leeway or latitude or any sense of freedom. And now things have become quite critical, because now bills are coming and people are calling and the pressure is really on, and you're feeling it in a strong way, and your feeling of freedom is all but gone, and your feeling of tension and worry is what you're feeling most of the time. So this is a momentum that's been going on for a while in this example. And so now we say, well, just think a happy thought, and you think, give me a break. There's no possible way that I can think a happy thought under these conditions. The momentum is such that the universe is not dishing up to me anything other than worrisome thoughts. So if I'm going to think about this, and I probably am, then they're going to be worrisome thoughts, to which I'm going to have an emotional response. That's why we call them worrisome thoughts. It's thoughts of worry, maybe even panic. Maybe I'm not even sleeping at night. So thought and emotion all running really close together. How do I break this cycle? How do I get into something that feels better? And we say, first of all, you've got to change the subject, because this subject already has so much established momentum. And even though you went to bed and your momentum stopped when you woke up, the bills are still there and the conditions are all around you. And so it would be freakishly odd for someone to say to you, just don't think about it. And in some ways you might say, that's how I got myself into this mess to begin with. I wasn't tending to what I needed to tend to, and so now I've got to face the music. How do I get myself out of this? How do I get out ahead of it feeling wise? And we say, all right, you have to start at the beginning of this. First, you have to acknowledge that you are a vibrational being. Do you? In other words, we're going really general, and that the universe is responding to your vibration. So you might say yes, and then you might say yes, but the universe is responding to my vibration, and I'm really worried about this, and so the universe is giving me more. How do I break that cycle? So we say, we've got to change the subject. And then you argue for your limitations more by saying, I can't change the subject because money is tied to almost everything. It's tied to what I eat, and it's tied to where I live, and it's tied to who I hang out with, really. It's tied to so many things. How do I not think about that? And we say, by thinking about something else. You got to pay attention to what the universe is yielding to you through your path of least resistance. And this is what we really want you to hear. Remember, your inner being knows where you are financially. And your inner being knows where you are in terms of your vortex abundance. And your inner being knows how to bring you from one to the other. So your inner being knows what things are worrying you the most. Your inner being knows what your path of least resistance is. And you're not this good, any of you, at focusing doggedly on only one thing. Your greatest gift is that you are fickle. Your greatest gift is that there are so many things that you could think about, and so many things that are asking for your attention. So it is for sure that today something is going to catch your attention that is off that subject. And your inner being is aware not only of what those subjects are, but of the timing of those subjects. So it's like your inner being is saying, it is not literally like this, but it is accurate for us to tell you this story in this way. It would be like your inner being and other inner beings, cooperative components, having a conversation about you. And the conversation would go something like this. He's looking for abundance, and there's so much lined up for him, but he can't find it because he's all twirled up in that and that and that. So let's watch for an opportunity when he least suspects it. His cork is accidentally going to bob for a minute, because he doesn't have the ability to stay focused on anything all day. So Be aware that its cork is going to bob, and when it does, fill that gap with thoughts that match that. Now, if you have done only one small thing, which is to say, I'm going to watch for opportunities to feel good, and when you accidentally aren't doing that thing you do that's holding your cork under the water, and you are bobbing up here on the surface, you are going to feel the difference for just a moment. If you have the acuity to run with that just a little bit, but most important, you don't have to run very far with it. Just notice that breath of fresh air, and maybe even an idea, because your inner being and all inner beings are really pouring the juice on. In other words, you're in a moment of less or no resistance, and so ideas are being presented to you, and you just might receive one of them. Even if you don't receive the idea, you're going to feel an amplified feeling of freedom, of feeling better. And your vibration is going to have changed a little bit, which means your point of attraction has shifted, which means the worrisome thoughts have to be less because your vibration has shifted, you see. So eventually you can stay off the subject. There is so much abundance that you don't have to pay for. Abundance comes to you through your vibrational payments, and your vibrational payments just mean your attention to things that feel good. And before you know it, you've distracted yourself enough from what's bothering you that you're not in the vibration of worry. You might be if you focus back on your checkbook, but you're not in the vibration of worry. And why would you spoil that run of momentum? And once you turn that corner, so to speak, so that your expectation is that the universe is yielding to you, you'll get those shivers of recognition when you realize that you received an impulse and you followed through on it, and look what it yielded to you. Because the universe is yielding to you all day, every day. You have no idea how much yield is flowing in your direction, how much abundance is being offered to you, is being yielded to you, but you're not letting it in because you've got all these stupid things that you think about that don't let it in. Let the one subject that you don't worry about be your cork floating subject. And if you focus on it long enough, pretty soon, by your lack of attention to the other subjects, they'll start floating. They'll start floating. All of a sudden, there's all these corks bobbing up here. And you say, where'd you all come from? Where'd you all come from? We've come up to join you in your chronic vibration. Everything that you want, we're up here joining you in the vibration where you are.